bet you can't clone me, Coby.
Bet you I can. Challenge is accepted. Now to clone you right, I had to figure out exactly where you were. I saw you're on a private jet and you licked the door handle of the cockpit. I did a Google image search of the jet you were on and it came up with this fake jet that people use to flex on social media. It made headlines last year when influencers were getting exposed for using this fake jet. In this article it said, influencers are paying 50 pounds to pretend to be on a private jet for their Insta. I found thousands of news articles exposing this private jet. I then found the exact address to the fake jet that you lit. I took my cloning kit in my hand and drove straight to the fake jet movie studio. Once I got there, I had to find a way inside the blue building because inside there is the fake jet that you lit. I went up to the gate, I saw it was closed. I was actually super scared because I needed to swab your DNA. I kept walking around the movie studio until I could find an entrance in. Finally, out of the corner of my eye, I see the gate to the parking lot door is open. With my cloning kit in my hand, I walked straight up to the gate to make sure no one was nearby. The last thing I need is to get caught before I get inside that jet set so I could swab your DNA. Once the coast was clear and no one was inside the parking lot, we went inside. I knew this wasn't gonna be easy to find exactly where the jet set is, but I knew it was in one of these buildings. I turned my head to the left and see a little crack underneath the door they didn't fully close, so I run up to it. I had to figure out a way to get inside to see if the jet was there. I got down on my knees and looked underneath the door, but guess what? The jet was not in that one. But I'm not one to give up, and I would stay there forever until I find that jet, and that's exactly what I did. I then find a door. It said number 4 on it. In that moment, I prayed to God that it was open, but it was locked. I then saw a keypad that I could type a code. I knew if I can guess the code, I could get inside this door. I typed the most generic code, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the door opened. You won't believe what was inside the fake jet set that these Instagram influencers use to flex on Instagram. I couldn't believe my eyes at how dusty it actually looks in person. But I wasn't there to take pictures and fake flex. I was there to swab your DNA directly off the cockpit door. I then took my DNA Q-tip and swabbed your DNA directly off the door handle of the cockpit. The exact same one that you tongued down only 48 hours prior. I used a scientific swabbing method to get every single piece of DNA off that doorknob. Once I had just enough, I took your DNA, put it inside my chemical grade tube. I then tightly secured the DNA with a cap. I knew it wasn't gonna move, but I had one more source of protection, my bulletproof casing. I closed up the casing so it was perfectly protected, and I left the jet set. I closed the door behind me so it looked like no one was actually there. And I went back to my laboratory to clone you. Yeah, my laboratory safety is always first, so I put on my protective optical eyewear. I then opened up my protective case, and inside was your swab DNA Q-tip. I then inspected your DNA Q-tip with my optical lens to make sure there was no damages. My assistant then gave me an agar plate, and I placed your DNA Q-tip inside. He then gave me cytochrome 437 solution, and I sprayed it on top just enough to secrete and soak the entire thing. After I put it under my $9,000 microscope so I could zoom in 4,000x zoom inside the DNA to make sure it was alive and moving. After only a few adjustments to the microscope, I then looked under it and it looked absolutely amazing. I then had my assistant look under it to make sure it was moving and looked amazing, and he as well said it looked great. Right now I'm going to show you guys what it looks like underneath the microscope. Check out the DNA, it looks beautiful, amazing, and ready to be cloned. I then set up my DNA diffuser, and my assistant handed me red hydrofluoric acid. I then put it down my DNA diffuser. You could see it spinning in each loop, dripping into your DNA Q-tip so I could colonize the full DNA. I then took out the Q-tip from the filtered DNA and put it inside my lab at over 750 degrees. Once that was done, I used an essential streaking technique to colonize the entire DNA. Those streak lines will have the DNA absolutely absorb up to the top of the agar plate so I can take each cell. Right there you see them, and clone them individually. This is you after only 4 months old, and soon I will have you for myself.